Hello, everyone. Good evening. Once again, this is Mona Solis Wiesen, your host for Empowered Filipina podcast. So, today I don't have any guests, but I have a very special topic that I asked my Facebook friends to answer it through a post, and it is a topic that I have been wondering why. It is about why Filipinos find it so hard to lose weight. We are going to dive in a few minutes. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So, how's everyone? Today is Sunday, the 7th of February 2021. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. And to my listeners in the Philippines, today is Monday, February 8th. Valentine's Day is coming, and I hope you guys have your roses, chocolates, and everything in between ready. So, on today's podcast, we are going to talk about why is it's so hard for Filipinos to find I mean, why Filipinos find it hard to lose weight. Like I posted video like 3 years ago, and actually one person or one user, a YouTube user, she commented about like why is it so hard for me to lose weight even though I'm in Canada. Like and then I was like, wow, even she's in Canada, she's finding it hard to lose weight. So I did a lot of research. It's actually in my book, in my ebook, about the challenges we encounter, why it's so hard for us to lose weight. So I am going to dive in right now of why is it so hard and why is it challenging? Like what is it that we can't just lose weight like right away? So when I did my weight loss journey, it was really hard, but I have to choose it for myself because I know that was better for me. That was the actually best for me, and I just choose to maintain it every day and have self-awareness. So, first of all, I have I found out that we Filipinos have a deep cultural problem. So the first challenge we face, why is it so hard to lose weight, is culture. Our food, our food culture, our lifestyle, maybe our parents and family traditions. It goes really deep down to the core of why is it so hard for us to pull ourselves and be disciplined. Everyone knows that it takes discipline, it takes self awareness, it takes consistency to lose weight. But why we choose to eat more than our body needs. So, as you can see, our culture is really deeply rooted to, we've been colonized by different countries, and I was wondering, like, who we are as a person and who we like. We always say Filipinos are hardworking. Filipinos are disciplined. No, excuse me. Filipinos are happy people. But what do you know past that? So I found out, like, like reading a lot of, actually there's not many articles of why Filipinos choose to like eat a lot or choose traditions. Like there's no social studies out there. If you guys know anything, you're more than welcome to send to my email, by the way. Also, so our food selection, like we have so much fiesta, we have so much birthday celebrations, and every time we have like handa or handaan, our food selections are like, it comes from spaghetti, macaroni. It's sweet spaghetti, it's sweet macaroni, um, and then it goes to caldereta, my lechon, and all those kind of food. And not only that, we can consume rice 5 times more than we need, like, and then we complain that we're almost going to explode at the end of the party. I mean, not gonna lie, I've done that so many times in my life, but now that I'm self aware of who I am and what I want and what's my goal, I don't do that anymore. I'm consistently aware that I only need this much because I already know, or I'm already knowledgeable of what I need. So number one is our culture. We're so family oriented, friends oriented, if that even makes sense. We like to eat, we like to drink, and we like all the good stuff. But then it compromises our health. It compromises that we don't even care, to the point that, it's okay for us that our lifespan only lasts like 65 years. We have sedentary lifestyle. We don't really think of exercising, like first thing in the morning, that's my instinct to exercise. No, we don't even think about that. We think every in the morning we wake up and immediately the first thing you think, not gonna lie, is pandesal. I know all of you, that's what you need. I mean, that's what like, oh, in the morning I need to drink coffee and paired it with pandesal. And that alone is already a no-no, because you're already starting with a very high glycemic index food, which is flour and basically sugar. So yeah, that's only one thing: culture, our food culture, our sedentary lifestyle, and who we are, our family traditions. So number two, our history. I talk about a little bit of it on the first one, but how many of us know our history past being colonized by the Spaniards? What happened to us? Why it took 400 years, 399 years to be exact, that we've been colonized? What were our original traditions before Noche Buena, before Fiesta? Like before Christianity? What were our original, like, let's say for example, let's say Korea or Japan. I don't know really a lot about Japan, but in Korea, I know a little bit of it because I watch Korean dramas. They preserve their culture even though they were colonized by Japanese. We, I think we forgot who we are with all those years, and then we quickly adapt to what was given to us, which was Christianity, Fiesta, Noche Buena, all those good things, right? So I actually read out an article about Jose Rizal's column. Like, I don't know when it was written, but I couldn't remember. I'm just trying to remember piece of a little bit of it. So it goes like, Jose Rizal noticed that when we were colonized, we were okay embracing others' culture, Spaniards, right? We were okay that it was okay for us to clean someone's shoes. It was okay for us to be basically mediocre, because in his words, don't quote me on this, in his words, we became lazy. We gave up on fighting our freedom and became lazy. I probably, if you guys need that article, I can post it somewhere, but it was something I read when I was creating my ebook. So I was like, wow, even Jose Rizal noticed or observed that we became lazy. It was okay for us to like be be someone's yaya, like it was painful to read it, but it all makes sense in a sense, if that makes sense. Oh my god. So, by the way, so yeah, so like if someone can answer who we are before that, like I know that we are Chinese came, Malaysian came, or refresh my history memory. If someone's listening out there and you're a history major, I would love, 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 love to interview you. I would love to learn, like a lot from you. So you're more than welcome to come to my podcast. But come to think of it, 400 years ago, or many years ago, we gave up and we become so lazy that we were okay being mediocre, right? So I was like, wow, this is deeply rooted of where we come from, where we came from, right? So I was like, it's there's something like there's gotta be a reason, or there's gotta be someone out there that knows who we are before we've been colonized. All right. So number 3, nobody showed us the the importance of exercising and eating healthy. If someone out there, if your parents showed you that exercising, eating healthy is important and it should be incorporated in your daily lifestyle, in your life, then good for you. I bet they have an influence in the Western world. But Filipinos in general, if you would ask them, your parents, your grandparents, nobody showed to us, like millennials. Let's say I'm a millennial. So let's say the millennial generation, nobody showed the millennial generation that exercising and eating healthy is important. We just recently demanded it from ourselves. All those posts that went viral that they lost weight. But even that, we were finding quick solutions, quick pills, or coffee diets, or egg diets, or something. We don't want to go through something, like consistently, because we don't know. Like that's all you know. That's all you know, that eating rice 3 times a day is okay. Eating rice, snacking 3 times a day, like only rice, all those things, we think, or we thought it was okay. If you ask a lot of people, like around you right now, if you ask them, like, hey, do you know that rice is not really healthy if you eat them, like, only rice, breakfast, lunch, dinner? They won't know, because nobody, I repeat, nobody showed them or to us the importance of exercising and eating healthy. Nobody. And I demand from each and every one of millennials, or any generation right now, that we should demand it. We should be a leader of showing it to our kids, to our future kids, especially right now that technology are rising. We know in psychology, it's a fact that in plus many years to come, our kids will suffer a lot of mental illness, or not really mental illness, but more in depression, anxiety. It's because the exposure of technology, number 1. Number 2, food, everything is processed. Number 3, no exercise. They're on their phones, their own TVs, glued to their phones, glued to their tablets, and we're okay with that. No, that should be a no-no, especially if you're millennials right now. If you're 25 years old, or 35 or 40 years old, and you have kids, you should demand to yourself that you should be exercising and showing it to your kids that, hey, kiddo, exercising and eating healthy is very important. You should like we eh, people ask me or told me that um they were like, well, our food selection is limited to sweetness, or it's all about sweets, it's all about this. It's because we don't demand healthy food. We don't challenge our government, we don't challenge our entrepreneur to produce good quality products or good quality food. We don't demand for them to incorporate more vegetables, less sugar. We don't do that. That's why there's no market for healthy products. If there's market for healthy products, only rich people can afford it because the demand is so low and the supply, I don't know anything about supply or market or whatever, but I know if we demand it, if we keep demanding in ourselves, if we come together to demand more vegetables, you can go to a farmer's market and support your local farmers. And that alone is a very, what do you call that? I think it's powerful to like, it starts in ourselves, selves, like it's, and then it start in our family, and then in our community, and then as a country. That's my vision. I know I live in America. I know I have all the privileges, but whatsoever. But that's why I'm doing this podcast because I want to empower, to give knowledge out there that if we come together, if we demand it in ourselves, if we demand to our government, hey government, why don't you regulate our restaurants to offer more salads, to offer more vegetables, to support our local farmers? Why can't we do that? Because we don't demand it in ourselves. And nobody showed us the importance of eating healthy and exercise. So we know now that nobody showed us, or nobody showed us the importance of eating healthy and exercising. But come on, we have access to Google. We have access to internet. We know exactly what to do in order to lose weight. You go running. You eat less, right? Those are just the simple steps. But since we are okay, and usually, and sometimes when we get bullied, or you're fat, or you're getting big, and then we turn to social media asking for help, or not even help, asking or begging to be accepted. But that's not the world works. The world works will always be brutal. They will always be rude. So I am encouraging everyone to start small. And by starting small, starts within yourself, like start walking. And if you ever heard someone say, "Oh, you're fat," leave them alone. They don't know what you're doing. You're doing it for yourself and your future family and your future self. That's what you should think while you're walking or jogging or you're eating healthy. And then everyone will also like tell me like, "Well, my workmates always eat lechon, like rice and spaghetti and etc., etc." Then be the leader, be the starter, be the doer. Don't become them. They should become you. They should become as one of you. That if I did my English right. Right? So we millennials, I'm asking all the millennials, we millennials should demand it in ourselves. We demand it from our entrepreneurs, our business people, or like to any groups out there that encourages or whatever what do you call that, regulate the restaurants or all our, I'm not it's very hard because I'm asking to change our culture, but we should if we want to progress, because that's a very hard thing about us Filipino. We are so resistant in change, especially in changing our traditions, especially in changing on what we've learned from our past. But come to think of it, we don't even know who we are. So what we're doing right now, it's just a repetition of what we know. That makes sense. So our traditions, like our parents, their parents, and their parents, and their parents told them, hey, this is what we did for so many years. You should do it. But science would argue with you. You know, like especially when our parents, when we don't eat rice, they were like, "Oh, now you're gonna faint or makuyapan ka or something." It's because you're so used with the sugar, and then when you take that out from your system, when you don't eat rice, you take that out from your system, you have sugar withdrawal, just like coffee withdrawal. So those are the things that we should learn because we have access to the internet, because we have access to Google. You know, phones right now is on hand. Phones right now is like literally with you 24 hours, 7 days a week, but we could not read it. And we know how to read, but we don't read the things that makes us a better person because we are okay and nobody showed us these important things. But I encourage a lot of my friends, for those of you who are listening, that you should challenge yourself. And I know it's hard. Not, you choose your hard, like they said. And if there's a lot of challenges around you, stay strong. Stay strong. And at the end of the day, it's not them who's bettering themselves. It is you. It is your family. It is your community. And it is our country. Okay? All right, let's move on. Number 4, lack of discipline and lack of knowledge. I feel like lack of discipline and lack of knowledge, I already kind of discussed that, but I just wanted to emphasize. Lack of discipline. It is very true in so many aspects of Filipinos' lives. You know, I wonder like why are we so undisciplined? Throwing our trashes, being so rude, that's part of being undisciplined. Interrupting someone when we talk to, but we're so respectful. We respect our parents and our relatives and our bosses, but we're so undisciplined. Simple instructions, we don't follow it. Simple rules, we don't follow it. And then at the end of the day, you keep complaining like, oh, this life is so miserable. This life is so like tiring. But we don't reflect our own mistakes. We don't own our own mistakes. Like, we should own our own mistakes. That's the start of changing your life. Facing yourself in the mirror, saying, oh, you're fat. You need to exercise. But then again, we don't do that because, like, oh, my boyfriend just will accept me for who I am. But then, at the end of the day, you're not happy. You cry. But you keep repeating that cycle. You're not happy, you cry. But then someone said, oh, you're fine. You look okay. And then you move on with your life like, oh, mabuti ng maganda or something. Mabuti ng mataba. Basta maganda or something like that. We find excuses. That's the word I'm trying to look. We find excuses in every wrong action that we do. Right? Like here in America, they already have vegan stuff, vegan patty. They already have CrossFit. They already have a lot of things. You know why? You know what I found? It's because they demand it. When American government says, hey, you wear a mask, American people will question that. Why would I wear a face mask? What is the need? And for me, that is so important. It means you challenge your own government. You challenge their, because not every government is right. I mean, not everyone in in the position is right. So we as people will come. We need to come together and demand it from our government. I think that's what we should do. I mean, that's what I think. I think we should demand it from our government, like, hey, governor, or hey, mayor, why don't you regulate our restaurant to offer more salads? So all those healthy people have variety. Why don't they offer or count every calories? Or why don't they break it down, the ingredients, right? Or something like that, or the calories, because here in America it is by law that the corporation or the restaurants will um will write the calories in every food. For example, McDonald's burger, they have to like say it is 22,000 calories per burger patty or burger sandwich, something like that. So Americans have more sense in like, or like how they have, what do you call that? They they have more chance to like win someone's battle, if that makes sense. But yes, we should demand it from our government, from ourselves first, and then to our family, and then to our community, and then that's the only way that we could fight this culture that we don't like, that we don't want. Because a lot of you, those people that work hard every day, they go to work, and when you go to work, you can tell that there's a lot of people in the streets just hanging around, and like all those kapitbahay na chismosa, they're just sitting and they're just looking at you, but you don't really you don't really have to like judge them for who they are. If you're the one that is more education, have more education, you should demand it from yourself. And like, especially now with Facebook, you can inspire one people or two people, or like five people, one person or five people. You should do that instead of like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say things that that will backfire at me, or I want to say things that I don't care. But what I can say is our lack of discipline is because of lack of knowledge. Like, we don't want to read a book, but we want to watch Korean drama all day. Like, how does that even make sense? Like, we don't have time to exercise, but we have time to watch K-drama all day. We don't want good food because you just want all the junk food, right? So all our actions and all, like, we're so like, I think our ego are just so like so big that our own selves can even keep up. Like, we want all these crazy things, we're dreaming, but then our actions are just so fucking far. Like, we want, let's say for example, we want Lamborghini, or we want Tesla, but your habits is so far away from even having a bicycle. That makes sense. Like, like, we wake up every morning, we don't have we don't have like motivation or something, because we're just so used to what we know. But again, I encourage a lot of you who are listening to my podcast that we should demand it to ourselves. All right, I'm moving on. Number 5, we are okay to be where we at. Just like I said, we do not challenge who we are. So again, I already kind of spit about it, but we just don't. Like, we wanted to lose weight, but we don't want to give up rice. But how can you lose weight if you keep eating rice? my husband and I always like talk about trade-offs. So in the coming another season of my podcast, I'm actually going to discuss about financial strategy or like advice or tips. And one of because my husband is really good with finances, and I'm learning a lot from him. And one of the things I learn in general, like adulting, is trade offs. I actually read it from a book. When you want something, let's say for example, you have a goal. You have a goal to own a house. To own a house, you have to have money. And to have money, in order to have a money, you have to work hard or spend less. But again, we Filipinos, we want to go to the mall every day, buy milk tea, period, because that's what we want. We want a lifestyle that doesn't speak to who we want to be, if that makes sense. So, can you imagine we're living in our country if, I imagine that I'm in the Philippines because I that's where my heart is. Imagine if we're living in the Philippines and type or Google search top 10 richest person in the Philippines. And you would be so disappointed who are the top 10. I think there's only one that's full-blooded Filipino. And that alone, I feel like, wow, that speaks volume to who we are. Like, I think number one is, of course, whoever owns the SM, Henry C., or whoever the owner right now, Henry C. Jr., whoever he is. It's because their culture is very different from us. They work hard, they're disciplined, they're full of knowledge, they read, and their actions actually align to their everyday habits, and that's where they build their wealth. And then they do trade-offs, like instead of buying milk tea today or twice a day, they don't just, they don't buy milk tea because they have a goal. And when they have a goal, and then they're so risk takers, I will be so happy in the day that at least there will be five Filipinos, or if my research is wrong, then I'm wrong, or at least five Filipinos out there that like trying to beat Henry C. I would be so proud. But right now, this is all I can do. I mean, I'm not the richest person in the world either. I'm not the richest person in the Philippines, but it would be so nice, to know that we are trying so hard. Because honestly, I want to be rich, but I want to be comfortable as well. I want to be happy of, like I got my dream 10 years ago. Everything right now is being like, I'm achieving them. So right now my dreams are changing, my goals are changing. So we'll see about it. It depends on my habits and the way I discipline myself. But again, so I just discussed five top five reasons why we find it so hard to lose weight. So I hope you guys learn from me. I hope you guys learned something. And again, if you guys know, or if you guys like want to challenge me also as a podcaster, you want to be interviewed here, if you know a Filipina who's inspiring a community, who's bettering themselves, who's such a lady boss or such an inspiration, please tag her, and I would love, 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 love to have her as my guest in my podcast. And trying to build a community, to build our next generation more empowered, knowledgeable, disciplined. And my ultimate dream really is to have our next generation, like, like they know that exercising is important, mental health is important, so they don't like feel awkward to talk about it, or eating healthy. So yeah, that's really my dream, and this is why I'm starting a podcast, because apparently YouTube is not for me. But I still, this podcast is available on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. If you want, you can. You have a wonderful week. Don't forget to start your day with warm water with lemon, honey. Start your day with good affirmation. Who you are. You're beautiful. You're strong. You're empowered. You're not alone. I'm here for you. Again, this is Mona Solis Wizened, your podcast host for Empowered Filipina. Good night, everyone.